Okay, peace. What's up, everyone? Enzo Reacts back here. We're back. Second Toronto pizza review right here. Like I said in the last video, we did Domino's for the first review. Got a 4.0 out of 10. We're continuing today in the Upper Jarvis neighborhood of Toronto. Pizzaiolo, it's a pretty big chain actually across mainly the GTA, so the Greater Toronto area. So there's some in Toronto, Mississauga, Oakville. They got around like 40 locations now in the GTA. So it's kind of branded as like this more gourmet chain, right? So like build your own gourmet pizza chain. I'd say similar to like a Pico or like a Blaze Pizza type of thing. So like I said, once again, just to confirm, we're doing Canadian pizza flavor. Regular crust, regular sauce, all that stuff. So this pizza here, it's a small pizza. So it came out to about $14.86. So $14.86 Canadian dollar. That's quite a bit. I mean, it's more up there for sure with those gourmet chains. Again, Upper Jarvis. This is the box. Pretty basic, handmade. It said the toppings are fresh. The dough's handmade, nothing frozen. So we're gonna see. Nice branding here. Not too much to the box, right? It's pretty minimal, but it's got the website on the sides here. Check the bottom. It's Pizzaiolo branding. Here we go, Pizzaiolo, Toronto. Let's go. Okay. Hey, this looks pretty good. Definitely, I don't know if it's a shine of grease that you can see. I think that's grease. Look, this is the type of bacon I actually do enjoy, where it's these strips. I definitely like that more than the crumble. So that's good. The mushrooms look pretty good. There's quite a bit on there. Pepperoni's pretty. All the toppings is quite a bit. Looks quite thin actually, which is good. It looks a bit underdone on my first glance over. It looks a bit undercooked. Yeah, looks good. I think you guys can see the whole thing here. There's no distinct smell coming out. It's kind of a mix of like the bacon and the mushroom smell. There's a little bit of pull. You can see that there. Wow, very floppy. Actually, more floppy than Domino's was. That's almost breaking apart. Wow, there's no structure to this at all. Look at that. Oh my god. It looks okay. It looks like kind of like a butter. It reminds me of like a Pizza Hut type of crust, like buttery. I see some semolina, I think, remnants on there. Looks pretty good. Here we go. Let's go. Let's start, from the base with the crust. You can see the crust. You know what? I do like it, honestly. It's very thin, actually. Look at that. Barely any crust, like cracker thin. This one's actually a bit more well done on the bottom, which this would be what I want on all the pieces. It wasn't like this on every slice. There's some semolina there you can see. That's a good amount of semolina. You don't need that much. So like Domino's had overwhelming amount. This is a solid amount for sure. Yeah, it's got kind of like a cracker texture at the back. It snaps. It's crispy on the bottom, so that's good. It's almost like a sourdough crust. I don't think it is, but it's got that kind of similar flavor. It doesn't hold up at all. I think that's because it was partially undercooked on some of the slices. It just flopped. The sauce is a problem for me. You can kind of see, definitely right here, it's missing sauce, right? And it's kind of like that through the whole pizza. There's not that much sauce. And the sauce itself is actually very thin. Like it's kind of more chunkier pieces of tomato, and the sauce isn't really dispersed very well. So you don't really taste it at all. When I did taste it by itself, it kind of just tastes like tomato. There's not really much seasoning in there, not much herbs. The sauce is probably the biggest letdown on the pizza. And then the cheese was fine. I mean, I think there's enough on there. Maybe you could have just a touch bit more cheese. And again, it's not really baked at all. It's very underdone. So the cheese is not baked. It's kind of goopy still. But the flavor of it's actually not bad. It definitely does not taste like a processed, generic mozzarella. It tastes a little bit better quality than the usual. So that's good. Now we'll move on to the toppings. Toppings are the best part about this pizza, without a doubt. I mean, if you didn't order this with toppings, you probably wouldn't like it that much because the toppings really bring it to that next level. And they're definitely fresh. They didn't lie about, fresh handmade toppings. I mean, the only problem with pepperoni is that it's kind of underdone. Again, it's not crisped up, but it's high quality. I could taste it, good herbs in there, good flavor, small amount of spice. They're pretty thin as well. The mushrooms, pretty good as well. A good slice on there. There's definitely enough. And they're not watery. They're not really flavorful, but they definitely have this standard mushroom flavor. They could have some, seasoning in there. This is what I like for bacon. I like these strips. Again, the big problem, you can see that it's undercooked, right? It's still got that kind of pale pink, so it definitely needs to be more cooked. But I like the flavor of the strips. It's definitely real bacon. It's not frozen, so that's always good. It's not too salty. I could have maybe just a touch bit more bacon on the pizza overall, but other than that, it was good. The quantity as well, I think it's fair. I mean, I don't like really heavy pizzas, so this was pretty good for a single serving. I think it's fair. I would pay 13 bucks for this, maybe at the max. You know what? It's not quite at that gourmet level like they advertise it. It's in between like a fast food pizza and the gourmet pizzas. Like the gourmet pizzas I find is more so Blaze and Pico. Like those two usually the benchmarks for that. You know what? I think the founder's father of Pizzaiolo actually was the founder of Pizza Gigi, which is, you know, a classic spot in Toronto. So you probably have one near you if you live in the GTA because there's so many locations now. The biggest problem with this is that it was definitely undercooked. Like that was the biggest thing. You could see things were sliding off. I mean, you know, the cheese was not really stuck on there. The bacon's undercooked, the pepperoni's undercooked. In terms of like the top dough was borderline raw. And it's a little bit greasy as well. You can see the grease shine on there. That was another problem. I think I'm going to hit Pizzaiolo with a 5 out of 10. 5.0 out of 10. If you got one near you, try it out. It's not too bad, but you're not really missing out as well if you don't try it. We're done with the Upper Jarvis pizza places in Toronto. So we did Domino's, we did Pizzaiolo. We're going to move on now to our next neighborhood, and you'll see what that is in the next video. So yeah, see you next one. Enzo Reacts out. Let's go.